Okay, so the two normal ways that we will market this property is Facebook Marketplace. Now, there is a little bit of discrepancy with whether or not you should go Facebook Marketplace and list it as a home for sale, or you should go Facebook Marketplace, list it as a home for rent, or you should go Facebook Marketplace and list it as an item. I've heard you should list it as an item. The problem with listing it as an item is not as simple as that. Facebook doesn't just let you say it's an item. They want to know exactly what item it is. So I actually tried putting this property already on as an item and got zero, nothing. I mean, it's like, is it a countertop? Is it a toaster? Is it like, they want to know exactly what it is. So I'm not sure how people are doing that, what they're getting away with, that they're getting traction on it as an item. But I can tell you from experience, if we put this as simply as a house for sale in Facebook Marketplace, you get blown up. And that's one of the most, it's not really frustrating, but it's just kind of tedious and time consuming things about doing these wraps, because it has to be on a personal page. You're not going to put it on a business page. It's going to be on your personal Facebook page. And the replies come in 24/7. It's not like you can say, hey, I'm only taking replies from 9 to 5. Like, no, it's usually when you're sitting on the couch at 9 o'clock at night, winding down for the night. Right. That's all of a sudden, my wife's like, what are you doing? What are you doing over there? What are you doing over there? I was like, I'm trying to sell a house. Like, I'm just replying to, hi, is this still available? Hi, is this still available? And you do that 50 times a day, sometimes more than that. So what does that look like? What does the ad for Facebook Marketplace look like? I'm going to share my screen. I can't see anything.
Which is another reason that it's good, if you're going to focus on wraps as a strategy, to stick to a specific market, because now you have all these people that have reached out and only one of them is getting your house. But now you have a legit qualified list of people that want a house and can qualify for funding.
Right. You guys can see my screen, right?
Yep.
All right, cool. So this is the ad right here. I have a template inside in Canva, and I literally just change the picture and I change, the property information. Other than that, this is exactly what it looks like every single time. You and I might look at this and say it's gaudy, it's annoying, whatever. That's what you want it to be. You want it to grab people's attention. You want it to look different and stand out. This template came right from Nick Legmar and Eric Sage's disposition guy.
Is that an outdoor stove?
What's that?
Is that an outdoor stove?
No, it's not an outdoor stove. It's a stove that happens to be outdoors. That shouldn't be there anymore. Right now I only have interior pictures from before the sellers moved all their things out, or not all, but the remainder of their items out. So, the house still, the pictures still looks like it's got crap everywhere. But honestly, I'll put this picture up and then probably a few other pictures, not very many. Maybe another 5 pictures, something like that, I'll put up with it. And if I have the chance to get better pictures, I'll change them out. But honestly, if you just put this one and only this one, you'd be okay. This is enough to get a ton of attention and to get people asking about it. The question that I know we touched on before, just in our conversations we've had about this deal and deals going forward, is who is going to be the point person to handle the communication, right? Because you can only go on one Facebook page. So, Derek, if you want to see the whole process, I'm not telling you I want you to do this, but if you want to see the whole process, do you want to be the one that puts on your Facebook page? Or do you want me to just do what I normally do and then just let you know what's going on with it? I'll be completely honest. Like, if you want to really, really understand what you go through with these wraps, you should have one listed yourself. Like, and it's just anyone that's doing this, because you start to see, like, it's just, not only are there a ton of them, Most of them are tire kickers. You start to get a feel for who is good, who is not interested whatsoever. You get a lot of people saying, "Oh, I thought you were renting it." Pace says you should put for rent, but Pace doesn't do wraps, so I'm not sure why he's even talking about that anymore. But he says he doesn't do for sale; he does for rent, and then just tells them, "Oh, it's actually not for rent; it's actually for sale by owner."
I'm assuming because he probably thinks that actually gets more eyeballs, because your goal is how do we get the most eyeballs? And there's probably more people that think they can't buy that are looking for a rental. But they also may not have the 10%
going
down.
the convert renters to owners route. It makes sense logically, but it just, when you're not the one handling it, it makes a lot of sense. Because you're going to get a ton of people that are like, "Oh, I thought it was for rent." Like if you got a VA doing it, then so what? Throw it at him. Throw it at him, whatever. But if these are coming to me, I don't want 100 people a day saying, "Hey, when can I move in?" Like, no, it doesn't work that way. This isn't for rent, it's for sale.
Yeah, he's got all his cronies doing the work, so he don't care.
Yeah. And he doesn't do wraps. He's been saying for years he stopped doing wraps. He's at a different point in his investing career.
Yeah.
And for us, because we're just adding it, obviously our goal and part of our business model of honing in on only 1 or 2 markets is so that we can get this automated to the point where we can just put someone in place internally that it's just like, boom, we're taking this off of our plate now. That's all you're ever doing in this business, is kind of systematically taking things off your plate.
Yeah, which is why I do every single one of these exactly the same, right? Like this, literally, if you logged into my Canva account, you'd see, like, if you went to this, you scroll down and there's just multiple of the exact same thing for each house. Because we know it's what works, and why change it? If I had a VA do it, I would just give them my login to my Canva and say, go to that template, change the bed bath count, the square footage, and then change the picture, and you're done. So I guess that's number one. Do you have any interest in handling that, Derek? Do you want me to continue to handle that?
Here's the thing. People talk about their accounts getting flagged and suspended for this stuff.
Never happened. Hasn't happened to me.
Okay.
Not saying it can't, because I know it can, but
have a separate account that you use specifically for the wraps?
You can't. Unfortunately, that's when you start getting flagged. It's got to be on your personal page. If you create a new business page for it or something like that, that's where you end up getting flagged.
Okay. Do you guys want to focus on velocity and just try to get somebody in and kind of just go through it? Because in full transparency, I will be doing my own wrap here pretty soon.
Cool. Okay.
I mean, not my own. I'm working with somebody on it, but I think I'll be able to go more in depth through the whole process of marketing and all of that. Since I'm the one on the deed and all that stuff, I feel like I have more responsibility on that one.
Good.
So if you guys don't want to do it, or if you already have a process in which you can work more quickly.
Well, what it's going to come down to at some point in time, not today with this house. Today with this house, we need to get it on the market, right? But down the line, obviously, we want to do a lot of these, right? We're setting things up to have ways to get a lot more of these deals and get them done as quickly as possible. Once we start doing that and we start scaling it, I don't want to be answering 1,000 Facebook messages a day. That doesn't sound like a good time to me, right? So that this will be delegated to a VA who that's their entire job, is to handle Facebook and to handle all these listings, get them up there, get them listed, respond to all the people that inquire about it and all that stuff.
Okay, then yeah, no, I don't have to go through it if you just want to bang it out.
Okay. All right. So I'll get that up on Facebook Marketplace today. The other place that we want to market it is on Zillow as a for sale by owner on Zillow. What you'll do with Zillow is you go in, you create a generic, just a normal for sale by owner listing. It would be this picture without any of the print on here. It's just this picture. And then it has, one picture, this had, house for sale, whatever. We don't put anything really in the description. Once it gets approved by Zillow, because they have an automated system that approves a listing. Once it's approved, they never look at it again. Then you go in, you edit your listing, you change it to be this image, and then whatever else you do, then you put your property description would be dueño a dueño and all the Spanish verbiage of seller financing. And then that will get some traction as well. But in my experience and everyone else I've heard talk about it, you're going to get most of your traction through Facebook Marketplace. I still think it's worth having it on Zillow. I think you still should have it. The issue right now with Zillow is, I don't know, I guess it's because it was the holidays and everybody was shut down. Zillow still shows that auction.com has ownership of the property on Zillow. Like, you have to claim ownership of a property on Zillow to be able to do anything to it. Auction.com hasn't released the ownership of the property yet on Zillow. So I can't go in and claim it.
Yeah, so I spoke to Rocket Mortgage about that. Derek, just to update you real quick. And they literally told me they do everything through mail. So the mail has been sent. But they also told me I can call auction.com. So I will call auction.com and see if I can get that expedited to essentially get it released. So that's just part of that process.
Yeah.
Normally, that wouldn't be an issue. This was just an auction property that we stopped the auction on.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll work on that once we know Zillow is available to be claimed. I'll claim the property on Zillow and I'll get that up and running. But the Facebook Marketplace should be enough to start getting us some good traction. I'm getting a call from Mexico right now. Interesting. Probably not a scam.
No.
Okay, so Derek, do you have any questions about this? I mean, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, so when these tire kickers are responding to the Facebook Marketplace, what are the top questions you ask to basically see whether or not they're actually candidates?
Yeah,
Like,
so if somebody comes in and says, "Is this available?" There's a button. You literally just hit a button and it says, "Is this available?" Like, they're not even typing to you. I reply with, "Yes, it's available. Seller financing, minimum of 10% down." And that immediately, like, anybody that doesn't have any money to put down or they're looking for a rental, immediately gets rid of them.
Yep.
And then it's so funny how people just can't do math, because like the listing will say how much the property is. And I'll tell them, well, we require at least 10% down. Well, how much is that? Like, just drop a zero, dude. Like,
move to decimal 1 point.
Yeah. But that's, I try and immediately just throw it out there to get rid of them. I don't want to string people along and like try and sell them on it. Like, if you don't have 10% down, you don't have it. Like, you're looking for for that certain person.
Mm-hmm. And then that's the first one, right? And so is there at some point, I mean, we don't even have to go through an RMLO, right? I mean, it does help.
So you do not have to go through an RMLO. The reason you would go through an RMLO is if you ever wanted to sell the note. Right? But if you have no plans on selling the note, the only thing an RMLO will protect you from is a potential lawsuit down the road.
I'm all for it every time.
Yeah. I like the RMLO. It just gives you an idea of what you've got, and if you do want to sell it, you can. Right? If you were to try and sell a note and you did not underwrite it with an RMLO, you're not getting 88 or 90%. It's just not going to happen. That there's no way that your buyer is going to trust the owner of the property, right? So, there's no reason not to do it. It doesn't take that much longer.
No, yeah, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Well, he had just said it the other day, and everybody was like, "Oh, if we don't have to get an RMLO," and I'm like, "Well, I mean, man, why wouldn't you?"
Pace said it.
Yeah, during the rap thing, he said you can do 4 a year with getting around the Frank Dodd Act or the Dodd-Frank Act or whatever it was per LLC. You can do 4 without having to go through an RMLO.
It's interesting that he would say that because, you know, what's Pace's big thing with his contracts? Don't ever use anyone's contract except for mine because he's had his legal team gone through and did all his protections, right? So what does an RMLO do?
Yep.
RMLO protects you. So
Yeah.
I don't know why you wouldn't go RMLO if you're at all concerned about protecting yourself. Because if you go to evict someone or foreclose on someone and you didn't use an RMLO, they can go in front of a judge and claim predatory lending.
Right. I'm not saying he said don't do one. He just said you could, but he also said, why would you not?
And yeah, exactly. Why would you not? Because we don't pay for it. The buyer does.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Sweet.
Okay. What else you got?
That was really it. It was just more like, hey, you know, what are the questions you're responding with? Like, is it still available? Yeah, minimum 10% down, seller finance.
Yeah,
And then
I
I'm
try, like sometimes if there's a bunch of them and I'm just not feeling it, I might reply with just yes to see if they come back to me at all. But in my experience, if you just copy and paste, like, yes, it's available, seller financing, minimum of 10% down, like put as much as you can in there, it just weeds out all the tire kickers.
Yeah.
Jeremy, I'm just thinking out loud here because we're using your Facebook right now. What we should do is probably put you on Genius CRM so that we can create buckets and just build our buyers list in there.
That would be
for apps.
fantastic. It makes it more manageable too, doesn't it?
It makes it fucking amazing. Derek, if you haven't heard
Yeah,
of,
yeah,
of
I should
Genius
have that.
CRM, it's $20 a month and you could be, or there's different tiers of what you do, but like the only thing we would need is the $20 a month. And you could basically turn your Facebook inbox into a CRM.
Okay.
You can have essentially canned responses. You can create labels with like a whole bunch of different colors. So you could color
Well, there you
code
go. The canned
like
response. Perfect.
so
That's
so
exactly
it's
what
like
I need.
here's our Talladega buyers list. Here's our, because we know that we're only targeting 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath plus in a certain price point. So we don't have to get any more specific than that. It's literally, we can just like, here's Birmingham price list. Here's, you know, or it could be Shelby County, or you could do it by county, do it however you want. But now all of a sudden we can just throw all of our buyers. If Facebook is what's getting the most traction for $20 a month, boom, problem solved.
Yeah. So the other thing too that people don't really talk about that much is once you complete a wrap, don't take your listing down. Don't mark it as sold. Unless you're in an area where you know, like, I'm never doing another wrap there. Right. But if you're in like Birmingham or Huntsville, an area where, you know, you want to do a lot of business, never take it down because now it's a ghost ad basically. So you're going to continue to get leads by just leaving this thing up. And especially if you had a Genius CRM or Genius, whatever it's called, you can just keep throwing people into that bucket. That's a great way to build a buyer's list.
Yeah, I have it pulled up right now. I'll look at it after we get off.
Cool. You know, just this is just another another bit of information that happened to come up in our accountability call last Thursday night. There's a new sub 2 member who came into our group, and she is a realtor, and she's from like Trinidad or something like that. And she does most of her business with internationals. You know, people coming to the United States for work or for family or whatever it is, and they can't buy a house. Right? Because they don't have the correct paperwork to buy a house, documentation that banks need to lend to.
Right.
So like that's an untapped resource in the rap community. I don't ever hear anybody talking about going after the internationals community. Like everyone says, yeah, go after the Hispanics, but like they don't talk about any other nationality other than Hispanics.
Yeah.
So that's something that I think would be worth trying to dig into once we have our markets dialed in. We're like, if we know, all right, we're gonna do Birmingham, we're gonna do Huntsville, wherever the market happens to be. Like, you know, if you're doing Phoenix, right? Like, there are plenty of people that are not Hispanic that are great potential buyers for you in Phoenix if you just put in the work to find them.
Yeah, well, I think we're gonna start marketing our wrap here pretty soon, so the more people I can go through a wrap with, the better for me, because I see different strategies from different people, and
Yeah.
eventually I'll be doing my own, and we'll go from there.
Sweet. So we can learn from what's working and not working from other people as well.
That's right. Yeah, and I'll bring it back, so.
Yeah, I mean, the goal on this, Derek, is this is like a lower level task that the goal is to put a VA on. Is, you know, like I said, all we're ever doing is just graduating ourselves out of tasks. So right now, this being new to our business model, it's, you know, something that we just do. You create systems and processes around it, and then you work yourself out of it.
Right. Yeah, no, if I hear you. My goal is to get to $5,000 a month just on wraps by the end of this year. So I don't plan on slowing down investing in them. How I do that still be determined, right? I don't want to work with a lot of people, so
Yeah,
the group of people that I work with will be
we have similar goals, only times two, because there's two of us.
yeah. I mean,
And
this
same
market for me-
same model. We don't want to work with a lot of people. It's just way easier for us to just build a relationship once, and then just keep nursing it and growing.
well, that's what I was explaining to my wife. I said, how nice it would be if I were to have somebody who I could, no matter what the time was or what it was, I could just go to them and be like, boom, I have a deal. Let me get 30 grand, have it within a day or two or whatever. You talk about the deal, and have somebody that's essentially a bank at all times that has money set aside specifically for this purpose. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized how convenient that could be, to not always having to go keep finding new lenders.
It's one of the biggest holdups in this business.
Yeah, but again, you can only do so many before the tree runs out of money.
Yep.
That's why it's important to get those wrap buyers to pay the money back.
1000%.
Love it. Well, I appreciate it. I have a phone call with my bookkeeper who may or may not have been super fucked up last week when we were supposed to have a phone call. And she picked up the phone because she was late to our Zoom, and I called her and she was either on drugs or hammered or whatever. And my wife, when she was on speakerphone, and my wife heard it, she's like, what the hell? Her husband sends me an email. Oh, I'm sorry. Hope slipped and fell. It was raining that day. Hope slipped and fell, so we're on our way to the doctor. I'm like, you should have said that before she answered the phone all messed up. So it'll be interesting to see what they say.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, guys. Well,
All right.
awesome. We'll
Serious
keep in the
swells.
loop. Reach out with any questions, and later.
All right, guys, see you.
Thanks, Derek. See you.
Oh, also, I reached out. There we go. I just reached out to the Genius CRM girl. Just like, hey, I have two people who need to set up. Let me know the quickest
Oh,
way
they
to.
do it themselves. You can't just like,
She does a quick little walkthrough.
okay.
So she'll jump on a Zoom. She's basically, so I guess Genius, I think, is under Jamil's umbrella. And so she is like, you know, they basically get to offer a discount and resell. So like at $20, she's probably not making that much, but like whatever. She's, I think, in Astro and Sub 2. And this is just kind of one of her little niches. She's just like the girl who's the go-to for Genius.
Okay. So, Mitchell, who we sent that 16,000 list to,
Yep.
texted me and said, hey, would you be available to talk or maybe even meet up sometime next week for like an hour? I'm hitting a wall with the amount of leads we have coming through and would love some advice. So I just texted him and said, send them to me.
Yeah.
I told you, he's the one that's got like, his partner wanted to have like 40 cold callers.
Amazing.
Yeah.
These are good problems to have.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, I guess at some point I need to go over to Talladega and actually go look at this house, don't I? Maybe not.
Probably.
I don't know. Maybe not. Let's see what kind of interest we get.
I guess we need a lockbox on it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I need to get, make sure.
All
I
right.
get- Ooh.
I'll pay the flooring people.
All right, sounds good.
All right, later.
Yeah.